I know it looks like I've been crying, but I literally can't stop yawning. There is no pain, you are receding. A distant ship smoke on the horizon. A couple of nights ago, I was at work. This is just a little story that's been like on my mind for the last few days. And I work in a cafeteria serving food to students, and basically there were two different dishes. One was like this veal curry, and another one was the red Thai curry. The one I thought was the veal one was just, you know, white, like yellowy white, and the other one was red. So I'm like, oh, that must be, you know, the red Thai curry. So at least 5 people came up and asked which one was the red Thai curry, and I'm like, oh, that one. So I basically served like 5 people the wrong curry. A guy I work with had to come and tell me, oh no, that's the red Thai curry. The white curry is the red Thai curry. Like, that's bullshit. And I gave 5 people the wrong dish, and at least 2 came back and they're like, no, I want the other one. Like, how does that happen? Yeah, and then I was thinking later on that shift that I always try to get out of, I don't know if this makes me sound a certain way, but I don't like driving other people. Like, I don't like having people in the car when I'm driving, because usually sometimes I'll drive one of my co-workers home, but I was thinking, I'll just tell them that yeah, I'm about to call an Uber and I won't be able to drive them home. Last couple of days the last couple of days I watched a film, but I also watched a couple of films last week. I have notes. Those are all the tickets because I bought them online. And I watched A Ghost Story first, so it was around 10 a.m. that I watched it. And it was such a beautiful film. You're gonna have to bear with me because I'm gonna have to really remember certain points that I want to talk about. Because because sometimes I watch a film and I don't really have much to say about it. It didn't really move me, it didn't, you know, give me much to talk about. But A Ghost Story really did. But this film, and obviously spoilers ahead, because, you know, when I would talk about a film, I just want to talk about everything in it, because, yeah, I just don't want to censor anything.
Because all that spoiler shit is for wusses, okay? All spoilers ahead, screw it.
A Ghost Story, that film, it was beautiful. I loved how it was shot and how it was framed. When, I think it's like the frame that older cameras have. The frame with like the curved edges on the side. Like, that's how it was framed and that's how it was shown. And it really made you think about death, life, like, and how empty it can be after you pass on, and just like being stuck in this limbo, and oh my god, I'm gonna keep repeating myself, but yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I feel like it's an interesting study on how people pass on, and then how people feel stuck in this limbo that they can't move on from, because they don't want to move on from their loved ones, but yet in the film, you know, he sees, you know, his girlfriend move on, and start to live her life and move out of that house, and a new family comes into the house, and life goes on when people die. He starts to become angry. But I think one of the points in that film that really stuck with me, that I thought was just, I think it was borderline funny when it was first introduced, but it became really real, and just like it made, like at one point it really made me tear up. And that was the point where because it wasn't just him as a ghost, it was another ghost in the neighbouring house, and they would basically communicate, look at each other and communicate through the windows. And whenever they would talk, the ghost in the other house would be saying something along the lines of, you know, I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for them to come. You know, I'm just waiting. Enough time passes that people start to demolish those houses, and it was really just, you know, really depressing. But that one point, I think that was the only jump scare in that film, because the ghost is in the house, and then there was a quietness, and then what's it? The whatever that fucking thing is called. Whatever fucking demolishes houses, that crashed through the front of the house, and I think that was the only jump scare. But it was such like those sort of jump scares where they have so much meaning and they're so raw. And then once the houses were demolished, the two ghosts were still there talking to each other. And then the other ghost in the other house said something, oh yeah, I think I wrote it down. They said, I don't think they're coming back. And then immediately when the ghost said that, the sheet over them collapsed. And that, I don't know what it is about that, but that just fucking broke my heart. Oh, fucking hell. That was intense. Oh, and the ghost like sheet to start with, it does it is like borderline humorous. It was like that at the start, but then as the movie went on and we always saw him in that, it became, you know, more real. It wasn't this clear, transparent sort of white light that decided to be the ghost. It was this white sheet that was the ghost. And weirdly enough, the other ghost in the other house, they had a sheet, but it was like a bed sheet, but it was like patterned as well. And even when this movie just certainly doesn't like push any what's the word? It doesn't push any it doesn't push any way to think. It doesn't push you to think a certain way. It doesn't push you to think this is definitely what happens after death. This is you know, God is definitely real. This, you know, it doesn't push that agenda. It doesn't push a religion. It doesn't push anything like that. And I think that's what was really needed, because it wasn't about that. It was about this loneliness and this, I can only really describe it as a limbo, because the entire time he's walking around seeing other people move on, but he's stuck in this certain time that he can't move on from. And to think, you know, that And to think you could be walking the earth forever on your own, you know, with no one acknowledging you, and just constantly seeing other people grow and seeing other people go about their lives, and you can't, because you're stuck there until you decide to give up looking for the people that you love. Sort of thinking when with watching the film and watching how aggressive he becomes towards people, and watching how he holds on so much that he becomes angry, and that he wants not revenge, but he just wants someone to acknowledge him, and that becomes anger. And I really wonder whether evil spirits are born out of that. When you have any movie that suggests there is something that comes after death, naturally people will go straight to the thought of God, or the thought of, you know, a heaven, or a thought of a hell. Like, there has to be something, and usually that ties in with religion. So I understand why certain religious undertones were in this film, but I think they were used sparsely enough to not completely take over it, and just letting the film like speak for itself. After that, I watched Baby Driver. Now I've got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you will not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Baby Driver, it was a good movie. It was like a cool movie. It was, you know, obviously more commercial than the other two I watched. And oh yeah, and I was like drawing these things when I was writing my notes. I was drawing yeah. And I did like the music. I did like the soundtrack. Replace Ansel with 1980s Judd Nelson. And then I watched It Comes at Night. Yeah, It Comes at Night. I drew the house. I kind of in like an apocalypse, but we never actually see it. Like, It Comes at Night, we never see the it. It's a really like paranoia type of film, and it's, yeah, I thought it was interesting that a couple of points the dog senses that someone is there and they try to run after it, but we never actually see I don't know any other word for it, but because there's no, you know, there's no monster, there's no nothing, it's just presented as too far away in the dark for us to see. And basically there's flirting between the son of the family in the first house and that wife. Like, there's a flirting between that. Made me feel really uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't have many notes on this. It was good. It was, I guess it wasn't that gruesome or that like intense. It was basically trying to bubble up that paranoia and sense of dread, like something bad's coming. A couple of days ago, what's today? It is Sunday. I watched this on Thursday. But Killing Ground. I watched it in a session that had the director Damien Power come in to talk about it, as well as the actress who played the girlfriend, Harriet Dyer. I loved the messing of the timelines, because it constantly kept the audience guessing and it's at certain points, because when the couple was setting up their, you know, their tent, and they never saw the family, and then when the family was there at their tent, they never saw the couple, and I was just like that's so strange that they're both there but they never see each other. I really want to talk about the casting choices, because I think the casting in this film, I think it was really well done for what the film was, because you know, seeing the couple like that, or seeing a family like that, honestly, because I can only talk for being in Australia, honestly, if you went down to the shop, you'd see a couple like that, or if you know, went to the city, you'd see a family like that, or if you went to like a dodgy pub, you'd see guys like Chuck. They kind of look like every average person, so it was more realistic to think that that could be anyone. As it didn't hold back. It didn't hold back. Like a fucking baby died in it. It didn't hold back. Like, I don't want to say, oh, it's so gruesome, because when I think of gruesome, I think of like the Saw films. I think of that gruesome, like torture porn gruesome. But Killing Ground was more, I don't know, it was still composed. Obviously you see the family die, but I just really liked that part, because it kind of allows you to see that violence but not be caught up in it. Because there was this one shot that it was a wide shot of, you see the husband and wife tied up against a tree, and you see off to the side, you see the daughter, and obviously earlier in the film the daughter is seen basically perved on by the two rednecks, but in that shot, I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, but you do see that girl, I think she had a bag around her neck and it was tied up, and she was also wearing nothing from the waist down, so they'd obviously like raped her, but it was just so intense, and it's like, it really like dehumanizes these people to view them like that, and even more with the wide shot, because it doesn't give you a close-in shot of this girl. So no, but even when they were like finishing up the job, starting to kill the husband, kill the wife, kill the daughter, when they went to kill the daughter, they just, you know, went up to her, shot her in the head, and it was just so, yeah, I liked it, because the director had a Q&A afterwards, and me being way in the back, I wasn't going to take a microphone, but when I was, oh god, I didn't think of this question until after the Q&A ended, and I was like, oh shit, because before going in to see the film, I knew that Damien Powell was a Tasmanian. I was thinking, because there was an incident in Tasmania, in a camping area called Port Arthur, and it was the Port Arthur massacre that I think it was 1996. But yeah, it was, you know, by one man who shot a lot of people, and and it's still a place that people go camping. I went camping there all the time after that happened, and it was the biggest massacre that had happened in Tasmania to my knowledge. And you know, after the Q&A, I'm like, oh shit, that would have been a good question to ask him, because he's Tasmanian. I'm like, maybe that was a subconscious influence. There was a question asked about I guess the relationship between the couple and the two guys, and Harriet Dye, the actress who came in to talk to us alongside the director, she said that she didn't really meet them properly, and when she did on set, they would keep their distance. That, you know, to quote her, I don't know if they're here to kill us or to help us. I think that's what she said. But yeah, a lot of people died in the film, but in a way, at the end of the film, I was still sort of disappointed that both of the couple lived. Like, both of them lived, not even one of them died. And I guess you still want to give sort of a hopeful ending. But for me, I'm just cynical. Another person asked, you know, how was shooting that scene and how was the sound effect? Because that person who asked the question were like, it was filled with such feeling, and it really was. It was the one point in the film that because the scene was, the woman was basically trying to get the baby to stop crying. It wouldn't stop crying. And basically, Chuck, one of the bad guys, basically said, give me the kid, and basically took the kid himself, threw him on the ground. And then that was the like screeching sound effect. And that was the one point in the whole film where the whole audience collectively gasped. I really like that there was room to develop those stories before basically rushing in to just have a killing film. Because I don't think the director wanted to do that. He really wanted to establish these characters first, and then because it was still going to be, you know, a gruesome, you know, killing story, but he wanted to establish the characters first. And I think that's what a lot of horror movies lack, is they don't establish the characters enough. So when they are killed off, we don't care enough about them to even worry that they're killed, because they're just cardboard cutouts, a lot of them in horror movies. With the shot I mentioned before, the wide shot of the family being murdered at the falls, it is a shot that's used with murder, and the only one I can compare it to is think of is Zodiac, David Fincher's Zodiac. And there is this one shot of, I think it was the first murder in the film, and it was the Lover's Lane sort of couple in their car, and the first couple of shots of them being killed is, you know, close up. You can see the violence, you can hear the music, everything's heightened, everything's, you know, and then we get a wide shot, and we're desensitized, you know, we're distanced from the couple, we're, you know, helpless. And I think, I don't know, but I kind of feel like that's sort of a commentary on violence and how we're so desensitized and don't really, I don't know, we don't really acknowledge it. Like, it doesn't scare us. Sick.